God don't communicate with us now, why back 2,000 years, 3,000 years ago, they used to communicate with the disciples? Well, how come it doesn't do that anymore with pastors that are now all over the world? There's multiple religion, but there's like, and then also multiple God.
How are you?
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I was referred by one of my Muslim friend to question you, I guess.
Okay.
Uh,
Go ahead.
yeah. All right. So, my question would be like, what is the difference between animals species and human species?
You have to be more specific. What do you mean by the difference? You would say
So, like
animals
for
are.
an example, I don't see birds, dogs, cattle worshiping any god, for an example, right? And as a human being, why do we feel the urge to worship something when all the other creatures breathe the same air, eat the same kind of food, live the same on the same earth? But I feel like because we are too intelligent, we overthink everything. And I believe that every culture had a religion at some point. So I want to kind of like want to know your perspective of what's the difference between animals and humans.
Okay. Do you speak the language of birds?
No,
Do you speak the language of ants,
I
spiders,
don't. But I kind of understand how they
tigers?
operate. Yeah, yeah. Kind of like National Geographic Channel. You understand how they move, operate, and all that. Yeah.
You understand how they hunt from National Geographic, but that's not what I'm asking, right? I'm asking, do you speak the language?
No, I don't.
So how can you, as you just stated, that they don't worship anything? How can you know that? You know what? You know what I find really interesting. I'll mention to you an observation that I saw personally. Right. First, I'll mention to you a verse of the Quran. Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, وَإِن مِّن شَيْءٍ إِلَّا يُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِهِ. وَإِن مِّن شَيْءٍ here in the Arabic language, it includes everyone. And there isn't anything, literally, if you want to translate, and there isn't anything except that glorifies Him. وَلَكِنْ لَا تَفْقَهُونَ تَسْبِيحَهُمْ. But you do not understand, comprehend their ways of praising Allah, worshipping Allah, etc. So all of these things that you mentioned, all of these ants, animals, insects, etc., everything glorifies Allah in its own way, in the way that Allah created it to glorify Him in. We as humans, we do not speak the language of these animals, so it would make perfect sense that we don't understand how these animals worship. Now, the observation I wanted to mention, which is the following, right? There is a specific time, which is after dawn. It's dawn prayer until sunrise. From dawn prayer until sunrise, and just the time before sunset, the 1 or 2 hours before sunset. These two periods of time in Islam, we have certain prescribed reminders that we say. Call them the day and night reminders, which are certain supplications that we say in these two times of the day, that the Prophet ﷺ used to say. So the Prophet taught us when these two times come, there are certain reminders that you say, certain supplications, certain things that you say to glorify and worship Allah. The observation that I found is that birds are always making noise in these two times of the day. I want to know,
They sing. That we call them singing, right? The birds
yeah,
singing.
you want to call it singing or whatever term you want to use. But specifically these two times of the day, you will hear them making the most time. This is an observation that I've seen, because when I used to go to the mosque and walk to the mosque and come back from the mosque in these specific times, I always hear them singing in these specific times. And if I go to the prayer in the mosque in the other times of the day, they're not making noise, but they are making noise. They're singing. They're making that noise specifically in these times, which are prescribed times for us to glorify Allah. Point I want to make is this: is you have no idea what these animals are doing, right? Because you do not speak the language. So you cannot then come and say that animals do not glorify Allah. I would say them following the laws that Allah has prescribed for them, what people call the laws of nature. There's no such thing as nature. You're just taking God from the equation and replacing it with a word calling it nature, right? So the laws of Allah that Allah has created this creation with, I would say it's just them following